Okay, maybe I was wrong. Pet Sematary stars Jason Clarke, Amy Seimetz, and John Lithgow. It's a story of the Creed family who moved from the big city to a small town, Ludlow, Maine, I believe it is. They discover on their property there's a community pet cemetery, and beyond that, there's an Indian burial ground. Now, this movie is a remake of the 1989 Pet Sematary, which I liked a lot, and that's based on the book Pet Sematary by Stephen King, who also wrote the screenplay for the 1989 movie. Personally, I'm not a big fan of remakes. There's a few that have been done well, but for the most part, not so much. What I don't like is when they copy the previous movie verbatim, like the same story, same. I hate that. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to go watch the movie if you've already seen it before. So if I do watch a remake, I like it when they take it and they change it just a little bit, just to give you a little something that you didn't see the first time you saw the movie. Now, this movie came out in '89. It was a favorite of mine. And I think they did a pretty decent job on this one. I don't want to do too many comparisons, but I did remember that the screenplay for the first movie was written by Stephen King, which I had forgotten. So that movie follows the book a little more closely than this one does. There were some changes he made in the first movie, but it's Stephen King. He wrote it. He can change what he wants. What I thought was interesting was I was doing kind of some research between the two movies and the novel because I've never read the novel and I know some things were changed for the first movie. You know, they moved some things around just for like the character of Pascal. In the first movie, he was given a little more to do in the movie than he was in the book. In this movie, they model him more towards how he was in the book. And I think the way Judd is introduced, you know, the neighbor that Fred Gwynne played, who was great, although I really couldn't figure out that accent, but I loved him in the movie. The way he's introduced is different. In the first movie, in the '89 movie, he was introduced a certain way. In this movie, it's kind of closer to the book. So there are similarities between the two movies and the novel. They kind of, you know, it was a little pick and choose for how they were going to do it. There is a plot point that they changed in this movie that I wish they did not put in the trailer. And if you didn't see the trailers, don't. If you're going to see this movie and you're familiar with the first movie, you're familiar with the story, don't watch the trailers because they ruined it in the trailer. Because the way they presented it in the movie, it actually plays out. You think it's going to go the way it did in the book and in the first movie, and it doesn't. They actually played it out that way in the movie. So, I mean, if they wouldn't have showed it in the trailer, it would have been a complete shock and surprise, and they ruined it. And I hate when they do that. That's my biggest gripe about this movie. But I understand why they did it. And the movie plays out differently pretty much from that point on. And the ending is kind of bananas. This is not a happy ending movie. Neither was the first one. It's different. But I did like it. I liked the way it tied up. I liked the way I liked the way everything played out. The Pascal in this movie, the makeup they did on him was gruesome. It was way gruesome than in the first movie. So I liked that a lot. I was really expecting the worst. I was expecting, you know, because again, I'm not a fan of remakes. And when you take something like Pet Sematary or any movie that you see that you remember from, you know, your younger years, your childhood, and they gonna remake it, they better be on their game when they do it. The cast in this movie does a great job. I like the Rachel in this movie, the mother, Rachel. Amy Seimetz does a great job as the mom. I kind of prefer Dale Midkiff as Lewis Creed from the first movie, but that's just my opinion. And the Zelda in the first movie was way creepier than the one in this movie. Well, that's enough of me not comparing the two movies. I suggest you go see it. It's worth taking a look, and if you do, let us know what you think. I don't think I'm going to give this movie a number grade this time. I think I'm going to go for the letter grade. So, I mean, if I had to give it a letter grade, I think I'm going to go for a B minus. I think it's worth that. So, like I said, it's worth a look. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate your support.